Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, or hi, my name is Stacy if you're new here. Today we are going to be reviewing the new Etude Playtone eye palettes that just came out recently, and also the 3 new Fixing Tints that came out with this collection. So if you want to see me do looks with all of the palettes, as well as some swatch comparisons of these to the existing Fixing Tints, and just keep on watching. But yeah, I also just wanted to mention that I will have some more KBD content coming soon on my channel, so stay tuned for that. But before we get into it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. It would really mean a lot to me. And let's just get right into the video. I'm gonna start off with the wood brick shade of this. It's like the warmest tone one. I wanted to show you guys the packaging because it's actually really nice, and it says Playtone eyes here. It's in this acrylic casing. And yeah, so then you get 6 shadows with some shimmers, some mattes, and then a blush on the side. This is the most warm tone palette. It's definitely made for fall warm tone people. So yeah, I'm gonna start off with this middle shade right here called Oak Beige. I'll just show you me applying it on one eye just so you get the idea. So I just applied this base shade all over. I'm gonna go into the slightly deeper shade. So I usually just put that in the outer corner. I'm also putting it in the inner corner. But yeah, also I'm gonna go back into the lighter shade and just dust that along the bottom lash line, going to a slightly deeper shade and putting that in the outer corner on the bottom. Okay, then I'm just gonna add the teeniest bit of this darkest shade called Hip Brick. I'm gonna add it to the very outer corner part. There's a nice contoured effect. I'm gonna go in with the main all over lid shade called Would You Like. So I'm gonna take my finger on this. So I'm just gonna apply this all over the lid. So as for most Korean shadows, these are on the sheerer side, but they're not so sheer that nothing's happening. They're just more buildable. So they won't be super pigmented right off the bat. I kind of like that because I feel it's just easier to create a more natural look. Because sometimes you want to go for a more subtle look, but it's harder when the shadows are more pigmented. I want to deepen the outer part of the shimmer with this. This is a deeper, a more coppery shade, less glittery than the other one. I'm just gonna place that here, kind of blend that into the outer corner. I'm just gonna go into the deepest reddy brown shade and line my eyes with it just to add some subtle definition. It's not really gonna add very clear line, but it will help define the lash line a bit. I'm gonna go into this nice golden champagne-y shimmer shade. So I'm gonna put that in the inner corner and drag it up, and then also put it on my Bagoso. Yeah, this shimmer is a lot more subtle than the one that we put all over the eyelid. Now I'm just gonna do my mascara, and I'll be right back to do the rest of the face. Okay, so now I'm back with my mascara all done. So here's the eye all finished. Now we're gonna go into the cheek color. So this is also why I was super drawn to this release by Etude, because it has the monochromatic cheek color to go with the eye look. So then you don't have to worry about pairing your eyes and your cheeks together, which is really nice if you're on the go, or just if you're a makeup beginner and you don't know how to properly pair your cheek and eye colors, or sometimes you just don't want to think about it. So I take a denser brush, because these cheek colors are a little bit lighter, and this is a very interesting kind of cocoa shade. It looks straight up brown in the pan, so it's definitely one of those blushes that are kind of a bronzer. So it does have some warmth to it, it's not just a straight up neutral brown. Definitely warm toned. So I've never tried a blush from Etude before, but I really like the formula of these. It's very blurring over the skin. I don't know if you can tell the difference, but it just looks like I put a Photoshop filter over this side. Okay, so now we're gonna go into the lips. So let me remove this lip oil. Give me a second. Okay, so now I'm back with no product on my lips. So I have the new SS 2022 Fixing Tints that Etude also came out with. I think the one that will match this look the best will be the Salmon brick color. So I put it on more fully because this is a stronger look. Also, I'm only gonna do this half of my face, so I don't have to remove as much makeup. But yeah, so you can see this finished look. I actually really like this salmon brick color because I'm just more picky when it comes to warm tones. And I feel this color has enough pink in it that it's not too orange. It's definitely warm toned, but it's just it's a really nice nuanced warm tone shade. So I actually really like it. I feel salmon brick is an accurate description because it has that salmon pinkiness to it, and it's not too deep as well. So yeah, this color, absolute win. Also this formula, I mentioned it in my previous video. I love the Etude Fixing Tints. I know they're super hyped, but they definitely deserve the hype. Just super soft on the lips, no transfer. It just blends itself out. It's the perfect liquid lipstick formula in my opinion. It doesn't dry out your lips. It's a petal soft texture. So this is the finished wood brick look. This isn't my favorite color story, but I actually really like how this look turned out. And I would definitely like reach for these types of shades in the fall. Okay, so now I'm back to do the other side of my face. So this is the Peach Gerbera palette, and this one is made in collaboration with a pretty popular Korean YouTuber named Jaeyu. So yeah, like she created this palette with Etude, but only this one in the collection. As you can see, it's actually less peachy than you would think, like from a palette named Peach Gerbera. It's more like a peachy nude palette. The only like real peach I feel like is the blush is pretty peachy, but the actual shades in the palette are actually more brown with like a peach undertone. So again, going in with the lightest shade called Basic Base. What a good name. So again, we're just gonna put this all over. Also put it under. We're gonna go into this medium shade called Fever Brown. Kind of has like a yellowy undertone to it. I'm gonna put that in the inner corner also. But yeah, I just really like how like workable these palettes are, and they're just like super user friendly. Like literally basically lay out how you should do your makeup. You can just like get a really cohesive look every time. So now we're gonna go into the second darkest shade called Gerbera Beauty. This is more like of a contouring shade, I guess. So I'm gonna darken the triangle zone right here and a little bit of the outer corner. Okay, so now we're gonna go into the most glittery shade called Pouty Peach. So this is like a chunky glitter shade. If you don't like those, most likely not eye safe. I'm not sure about like Korean regulations. So these are actually quite popular in Korea, I've noticed. Because I think like K-pop idols wear them a lot because it's like easier to be seen from afar. So just be careful when you're applying these because you really don't want to get these into your eyes. But I've honestly never had a problem with them, and as you can see, it stuck to my eyelid really well. Like there was no fallout. So it's a very good chunky glitter formula, but if you don't like those, be aware of that. But you can see how that just added like this extra sparkle. Ooh, I like it. I've been really into these types of glitters lately. So I used to like hate these types of glitters, but then recently I've kind of been into them with my like whole Korean makeup phase, because a lot of Korean palettes actually have those as like a point glitter. And also like since a lot of the idols wear it, every time I put that type of glitter on, I feel like a K-pop idol. So in order to honor Jaeyu, she always does like a really defined aegyosa. So I'm also going to somewhat attempt it. So we're gonna go in with this shade, Gerbera Beauty, which I think she meant for contouring aegyosa shade. You just kind of follow the shape of it. Literally just draw a line. I'm gonna blend that out a little bit just because I think that was a little too harsh. And lastly, we go into this is like a soft shimmer shade called Double Charming. So it's meant for the aegyosa. So this is definitely like not one of those showy shimmers. It's like a very subtle shimmer. She made this shade specifically for the aegyosa. I think she made it very soft just so it's actually more realistic. It will like literally highlight and like poof up this area, but without making it look like glittery. So it looks like this is your natural eye bag. I'm also gonna highlight this inner corner right here. So that's it for this eye. I'm gonna go off camera, do my mascara, and I'll be right back to do the rest of the face. Okay, so now I'm back. So now we're gonna go into this Peach Gerbera blush. This is actually one of my favorite blushes in this collection because it's just like a really nice peachy pink blush. It is very light though, but that's kind of like the Korean blush trend, or at least like right now. I feel like they prefer very like milky looking blushes. But yeah, this color is just really nice. It's a very flattering peachy pink. Well, first of all, it being a light color makes it just like really easy to use if you have light skin tone. And also the key with these like milky type blushes is just to like kind of place it in one area, and you don't even have to like blend it out because you want the contrast between the blush and your skin to be more obvious. So you just like place it in this one area. It will make the blush more vibrant there, but not like spread it out all over, so then it's actually more visible this way. So this is a good trick when you just want your eye makeup to look more cohesive with your face. You just take your blush shade and kind of run it along the crease here, and it will just make everything look more harmonious. Now moving on to the lips. I want to try to mix these two colors, the Salmon Brick color and this shade is Smoky Cherry, just so you guys can like see the different colors. This would also work just with Salmon Brick, but I kind of want it to have a little bit more pink in it. I also like that these Fixing Tints apply sheerly. You can like really easily customize like how you want your lips to look. It's so pretty with this like peachy look, because it has like this peachier undertone. Now I don't know if I should add the Smoky Cherry color. This is like a bright color. This is like perfect for spring, and I like that it was cooler tone than their other bright colors that they offer. Okay, I'm just gonna add a little bit to the center. But yeah, so I just made it like pinker. This is the Peach Gerbera look. This is a close-up of the eyes. I actually really like this palette for if I'm going for a warm tone look. I would pick this one. When I want to go for a warmer look, I tend to go for like peachier tones. So this palette is really good for that, and it's just a good everyday palette. I'm just gonna remove like my whole face, and we can get into the cooler toned or more neutral tone palettes. Okay, so now I'm back with my blank face. So I'm gonna go into the only cool tone palette, which is this one called Cashmere Mauve. So it looks like this. And it's called cool tone. Like, it definitely is more cool tone than the other ones, but I would say it's more on the neutral side, like neutral to cool. It's not super cool, and I feel like this is a cool tone palette that like warm tones can also wear. Okay, so going into the lightest shade called Real Cashmere. Taking that all over the eyelid. I feel like I've been really liking to use like these types of base colors lately. Okay, so now going into the second lightest shade called Cozy Brown. This is a nice subtle like neutral to cool leaning brown. I'm just gonna place that in the inner and outer corners. Also, I feel like the quality of these mattes are really nice, like they blend out really easily. Okay, now I'm gonna go into this shade. It's like a deep mauve shade called Mauve Night. This is probably my least favorite shade in the palette just because it's like a dark shimmer, and I feel like it's a little bit too similar to the deepest shade. Like, it's a deepening shade, but then why make it a shimmer? I feel like it could have been another like brighter shimmer that I could actually use on the eyelid. Going into the main color called Moving Rose. This is gonna be our main shimmer, but I will say like the payoff is on the sheerer side. It just gives you like this sheer wash of like shimmer. This is after layering up a few times. I like the effect after layering it. But yeah, as you can see, like this shimmer is actually kind of like rose goldy, like it's not super cool. So now I'm gonna line my eyes with the darkest shade called Cashmere Blending. Like that. And then lastly, we're gonna go into the other shimmer shade. This one called Brilliant Luster. And this one's nice because it has like these sparkles, like micro shimmers, which I like better than like a pure metallic shimmer, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's definitely one of my favorite shades. So I'm gonna do my mascara and I'll be right back. Okay, so now I'm back. So we're gonna go into the So Soft shade, which is the blush right here. This one is probably my favorite blush color, I think, out of the four, just because it's a nice like cooler mauve shade, which is like my favorite type of blush shade. I think this one and then the peach Gerbera one are my two favorite blushes. So finally we get to go into the cool tone shade of the new shades they just released. This is called Rose Blending. So this one definitely has like a cooler purpley undertone. It will go well with this look. I did a more sheer layer of it because I want it to still look natural. But you can definitely see that like purple undertone that it has. So here is the Cashmere Mauve shade. Okay, so I just removed the lips so we can go into the final palette, and this is the most nude out of the four. This is in the shade Nude Milk Tea. I also really like this one at first glance as well. So I'm gonna go in with this base color, Ginger Beige. I'm just gonna apply that all over. Also on the bottom. Okay, so next we're gonna go in with this deeper shade called Blending Milk Tea. Just deepen the outer corner here. And also the inner corner. And also this triangle zone. Okay, so next I'm gonna go in with the main color, which is this one called Talgona with Toppings. This is that more sparkly, creamy texture. This one is quite pigmented. Like, this one is more pigmented than the equivalent in the Cashmere Mauve one. Also, it's interesting because it has some like greenish gold pearls in it. It doesn't end up looking green, but I feel like you can kind of see like the pearl reflection is interesting. Okay, I'm gonna contour the egg yolk right here and then go into this shade called Nude Cream. So this is like that subtle shimmer that was in the peach Gerbera palette. So I'm gonna also put this on the egg yolk here. So this is like a nice highlighting shade, but it's very subtle. Also, there's this other sparkly shade called Sweet Milk Tea. This is also a really nice sparkle shade, and put it on the inner corner. I really like the sparkle on this. So this one actually can also be used as an all-over lid shade. I'm also going to highlight the egg yolk with this one as well. This shade is probably my favorite in the eyeshadow part of this palette. Lastly, the dark eyeliner shade. What is it called? It's called Rich Milk Tea. So now I'm gonna do my mascara and I'll be right back. Okay, so now I'm back. Now we can go into this blush. So this blush is like really nude, and it's the shade Warm Milk Tea. And it does show up a little bit warmer on my skin, but I wouldn't consider this super warm. But yeah, overall I would say I feel like this palette shows up a little bit warmer on me than it looks in the pan, but it's still like pretty neutral. The Nude Milk Tea one is neutral leaning warm, and then the Cashmere Mauve one is neutral leaning cool. But they're both relatively neutral. They're not too strong in the undertone. Like, if you are the opposite undertone, like if you're a cool tone, I feel like you could still wear this Nude Milk Tea shade, and if you're a warm tone, I feel like you could still wear this Cashmere Mauve. I guess the best matching shade for this out of the nude colors would be Salmon Brick, because it is a little bit more on the warmer side. Okay, so I just foundationed my lips a little because I want to go in with the Salmon Brick shade, but I want to make it like a little bit more nude looking. The shade is already like relatively nude if you sheer it out, but I kind of want to make it like lighter, if that makes sense. Okay, so that definitely gave it like a more milky look. That just made it more like nude looking, which I actually really like, and I feel like it suits this look better. This is the final nude milk tea look. And I zoomed you guys out a little bit because we're past the tutorial part. I just want to compare some of the new Fixing Tints with the existing tints that I have, in case you already have some of them and want to see like what the difference is. The only one I don't really have any comparable things to is Smoky Cherry, but I'm just gonna swatch it on my hand anyway. So yeah, as you can see, it's like a pretty bright pink. I would definitely wear this more sheared out or just like as a gradient lip in the center. As you saw in like one of the looks earlier. Here, I'll kind of like blend it out at the edge like that. You can see how like that's much more wearable, but yeah, it's still a pretty bright pink. And I'm gonna swatch the Salmon Brick color. So here's the Salmon Brick color, and I'm gonna like blend it out a little bit. It's more brown on my hand, but it's more pink on my lips. It's like a brownie, pinky nude. Okay, and then for color comparisons, I have Ginger Milk Tea, which was one of the originals. This one is very orangey. Here's Ginger Milk Tea. So yeah, you can see it's a lot more orange slash yellow than Salmon Brick. And also I wanted to show Soft Walnut, which was I think their fall winter release. Yeah, here's Soft Walnut Salmon Brick. As you can see, it's a lot darker and a little bit redder. Like this has more red in it, whereas Salmon Brick has more pink in it. Now onto the Rose Blending shade, which is the new cool tone shade. You can see it has a lot more purple than Smoky Cherry, and it is more muted. Like I would say these two are relatively equivalent, but just this one's a lot more warmer and this one has a purple undertone to it. Compare it to some of the other cool tone shades I have. So first up is Midnight Mauve. Okay, so this shade is kind of funny to me because it's called mauve, but it's definitely like warm toned. I feel like Korean shades tend to run warm. Okay, so as you can see, this is actually Midnight Mauve. So actually, you can see that Midnight Mauve is quite similar to Salmon Brick, but Salmon Brick actually has more pink in it. Midnight Mauve is actually kind of like a peach, like a peachy nude. So that's kind of the difference, but they are quite similar. So if you have one, you might not need the other, but I find Midnight Mauve to be like slightly brighter. It's definitely still more on the nude side, but it's just like a fresher peachy nude. Whereas the Salmon Brick one is kind of more toned down. Like I feel like it has a tiny bit more gray to it, and then also some pinky brown brickness to it. So next we have Dusty Beige. Ooh, this is one of my favorites. This is the one I used in my previous video. So like yeah, this one's actually a cool tone nude. As you can see, it's quite neutral leaning cool. So this is warmer than Rose Blending, which I told you has like a purple undertone, so you can see how this is cooler than that. But yeah, these two together I think would look really nice. And then lastly, we have the Cranberry Plum shade, which was in their fall winter release. So I thought this one would be similar to Rose Blending, just from like online pictures. As you can see, and also in the tubes, like they look similar, but this is Cranberry Plum, so it's a lot more red. It doesn't have that purple undertone. It's actually quite neutral in my opinion. It was like categorized as a cool tone, but it's more neutral. I feel like the cranberry part of it is pretty accurate. Like it's just like a more muted red. Okay, here are the swatches. So I'm gonna remove this with like a makeup wipe. I wanna show you like the staining power. As you can see, even with the makeup wipe, it does stain. So they're kind of like liquid lipsticks with staining power to them. It's not as staining as like a true lip stain would be, because as you can see, if I rub it, it does come off. So that's that for the swatches. I just wanted to give you some of my final thoughts on these Playtone eye palettes. First of all, what really drew me to these was I like that it's pretty small and compact, and it has the 6 eyeshadows plus the blush in it. So it's just perfect for beginners, I feel like. Can't really go wrong with the shadows. Also because like the colors they picked are very neutral. As for the blush shades, the blush formula is really nice, as I mentioned earlier. Definitely blurs over everything and just looks like you have a filter over your face. The blushes all have this kind of like milky undertone, so I feel like it will only work for light skin tones basically. But yeah, I feel like these are great daily palettes for a light skin tone person. I actually like the fact that like whatever look you do with these, it will come out looking natural, because I feel like I have a relatively heavier hand when it comes to makeup, and I'm also like not afraid to like look like I'm wearing makeup, but sometimes I want to go for a more natural, subtle look while still wearing makeup but just not looking so dramatic. And then sometimes it's hard for me to achieve that, especially with like more pigmented shades of like eyeshadow and blush. So I just really like the shade curation of these, because I feel like it just makes it really easy for me to get a natural look when I want. The important thing to remember though is that the shimmer formulas in these vary from palette to palette. Like for example, the Peach Gerber one, it doesn't have one of those like sparkly shimmers. It just has this big chunky glitter plus a super subtle highlighting shade. Yeah, basically the composition in terms of like matte to shimmer ratios are different between these. So that's about all my thoughts for today. Leave a comment down below letting me know like what other K-beauty brands you want to see me try, because I've been buying a lot of K-beauty recently, but only from like certain brands. So I want to see if you guys are interested in seeing a specific brand on my channel. But besides that, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you like this video, and subscribe down below if you want to see more content like this, because it really helps out my channel and it really means a lot to me. And I'll see you all in my next video. Bye.